Twin Ray, the couple Twin Ray with us. You know what I love, Lee?
I know what I love, but go ahead, you first.
I love that there are people coming onto the planet that are already aware of their spiritual nature. Mm-hmm. There isn't that veil of duality. Unlike you and I, where, several decades went by before we, got to experience that deep connection and love from the other side of the veil.
That's right. Kryon says, we got to peel the onion. Mine was a big one. You know what I love is the fact that they have so much hope for humanity. The goal they have for humanity is Kryon 101. And it's just great to see it in other people and other leaders and other healers.
Absolutely. And I think this is now the perfect segue into what we'd like to do next.
Ready? It
which
really is
called Miracle Moments.
It's time again to do those miracle moments, and it's one of our favorite sections of the program.
It is, and we love to share people's healing and success. We love to also involve our wonderful group of viewers, that's you, in helping others. You can find the Miracle Moments section in your membership portal, and that is where you can request prayers of help and benevolence. It's also a place, are you ready, where you can share your miracle with us. We really love hearing all about the miracles, big or small, doesn't matter how you think. We love to hear it.
It could be a miracle in the form of an amazing synchronicity. That's miraculous. It could be a healing of the heart, could be your emotions, it could be physical healing of the body. I'd like to ask Monica to share a miracle moment which happened to one of our Circle of 12 members.
So again, the miracle was shared in the membership portal. It is so beautiful, but it was incredibly detailed, and there's actually too many details for me to share. So I want to encourage all of you, go to your portal so that you can see the full story. Here is the short version, and it comes from Arnhild. Arnhild is in Norway. I hope I've said your name correctly. It's Arnhild. And here is what Arnhild says. A few years ago, he was very ill and spent almost all of his time in bed. But ever since, he started to really listen and really absorb the words from Kryon, Lee and I, the guests that would come on Healing Wednesday, he had a profound healing to his life. Today, he is a full-time artist, and all of his art is channeled. And people who purchase his art, they actually tell him his art is alive and that it is healing. Arnhild listens to Healing Wednesday every Wednesday in his bathtub. I love that. I love that view. And he says that he is happily floating and giving thanks to the water itself. Many miracles have happened in his life. And honestly, I can just feel in his sharing with us that he spreads love, light, and miracles to everyone that he meets. So thank you. Thank you, dear Arnhild, for the gift you have discovered within yourself and how you share it with all of us. So beautiful. So I invite you now to send an energy of love and benevolence into the field around you. It is as simple as that. Connect in with the energy of your heart and ask for the intelligent wisdom of your heart to generate a field of love around you, just in your own field. And as your heart generates this radiance of love and compassion, it's coming from the Creator through your heart and into the field that surrounds you. And by the very nature of the field that exists around you, you are instantly connected with the field that is around every other heart on the planet. And there are those who have requested our assistance, prayers of help and benevolence. They have submitted their name, and whether it's in the past, present, or future, in this moment of entanglement with each other, in this field of coherence we have created, all of those requests are known. And so we generate a field of love and benevolent support that comes from the Creator and reaches them. And this postures an energy around them that, should they choose, they have the solutions they seek. So let us feel into this field being created around us, now being amplified, so that that constant broadcast being sent from the Creator is able to be perceived and felt even more than it ever has before by all those who are asking help from the Creator. And let me remind you that you too are included in this as you generate and amplify the field of energy around your heart into the field around you, entangled with everybody else. There is a field of benevolence being sent to you and to all those around you who are you as well. And let us remain in this field of benevolence as we continue on to hear the message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon. Come a little closer. It's been mentioned that there is a field of benevolence around those who are giving intent for things in their life that they think are important, and they are. And then it goes into something called a field, and it does. What if your intuition, before you ever write perhaps a request for healing, what if that intuition goes into the field as energy and things began to be seen, understood, not only by spirit, but even by those who you don't know, who are also connected to the field? We have discussed the field so many times to you. And there are many who say, I still don't understand what that is. The reason you don't understand it, again, goes back to peeling the onion. You have never been told there is something like the field that perhaps is an overlapping energy of every soul on the planet. So that when one does something, perhaps another across the planet can feel it. Someone who doesn't even know you. This is also the key to synchronicity. That is, you meet people you didn't expect to meet. Those who will change your life in the future. They just simply show up at the right time, at the right place. Perhaps at a place you didn't even want to go to, and suddenly they're there. How does that work? I just gave you the answer. It has to do with the field of energy, overlapping sacredness, you might call it, of every soul on the planet. It is not as effective if you are so out of the loop that you cast it away as a reality. Let me reinterpret what I just said. It's not going to work well if you don't believe it. So belief has always been the key, because that is a consciousness of energy, which we'll call an allowance. It allows things to happen. What is your allowance for the Circle of 12? We've been doing this for a long time. We cross a metaphoric bridge into a place that we say is your soul. However, no one's really ever visited their soul, you might say. Many have said, well, it's a good picture you paint. What if I told you it wasn't a picture at all? It's a reality that you don't think exists. You've been told that it doesn't exist. You can't do that. Your reality is sitting where you're sitting. And that's about the extent of it. When the program's over, you go up and do something else. That's your reality. What if I told you the energy of consciousness, of expectation, divinity, love, compassion is so great that you can change your reality to the extent that you can visit your soul? It doesn't feel like 3D, but it is just as real. Oh. I want you to go there with me right now. Together, let's cross the bridge. Take my hand. Let's go together across this metaphoric bridge from the things you don't know and you don't understand. What you call your reality. You don't know everything, but you're comfortable with it. It's going to go from that which is the known to you, which includes so many things that you don't really think are true, across the bridge to an absolute, an unexpected, unknown reality that makes sense to you. Because it's you, it's your soul. You bask in your own beauty of knowledge, understanding, where everything makes sense. That's you. Filled with your energy, dripping with the love and kindness of spirit. For all of these episodes, I've been saying you go from the unknown or the known to the unknown, or to what you think you know in 3D to what you don't know in multi-D. What if it's different? What if you're going from a very mysterious reality, which is you sitting there, to a known reality of you and your soul energy? Oh, that's different. There you are in a place that is well known to you, where everything is possible. Not only that, things are possible that can happen there that you take back across the bridge with you when this program is over. Let's go someplace. Let's go to this new hall that we described before. The third time we're going to. We're going to call it a place where you're going to meet the Vision Master. This is you helping you. It is you going to an area, not even through a door or a portal. It just is there. An area where you sit and are ministered to. And that means that all you have to do is sit there. It's like you're having an angelic massage of whatever you need at the moment. Are you okay with that? Let's peel the onion of everything that has been told you that you can't do. Everything. From everyone. Because your reality is like that. Your friends, your parents, your church, none of them would really be on board when I tell you you are in control of what happens to you. That through synchronicity you can dodge the bullets of chance. We said that. And that this needs to be on your mind all the time for it to work. There has to be a firm understanding, a belief. Even a human being that is saying the affirmations correctly, perhaps, meaning that they are using intent and not just words, in order to create an energy that will put you in the right place at the right time. Dear ones, I want you to sit in this chair. And the Vision Master will appear. And the Vision Master is whatever you think the vision master should look like. How do you like that? We told you this before. Isn't it interesting that we don't paint a picture for you of what color the master is, what gender the master is? If the master is alone or with an entourage, it doesn't matter, because this is your soul. This is your story. This is your narrative. Make it whatever you want. But the core truth of it is, that this vision master is part of you. And it comes over you, perhaps with the same green mist that you've seen before on this program, perhaps not. It doesn't matter, because whatever it is going to do, this vision master for you will be to help you get through that onion that you're trying to peel really fast. Coming into your life and showing you so truthfully who you are and what is possible, that onion of yours is going to be peeled so quickly that you could come out of this very session differently. That it won't take years for you to understand how things work, for you to create your own path, or what is it you have to do and how you have to think, that it snaps into a reality and you go, oh my, oh yeah, I see it. And it's not the minutia where you can write things on a piece of paper and say, do this one, do this one, do this one, do this one. It's more like a field of thought, a comfortability, if that's a word, a kindness of spirit that says, I know this. I know how to do this. And it's accompanied by something else. Forgiveness of yourself that you might not have known. How about that? Humans tend to beat themselves up when they figure they find a truth, and the truth goes against everything they've done, and they go, what have I done? How could I believe that? How could I have done this? I was foolish. I was stupid. No, you weren't. Dear ones, you were just human. Going with what you thought worked, and now you know better. That's the beauty of peeling the onion. That's the beauty of self-discovery, dear ones. No guilt allowed. No beating yourself up for perhaps what you didn't know. All of these lessons have been about this. All of them. They've been about your mastery manifesting itself into your personal life while you're a human being on the planet walking around in 3D. I would love for you to sit there and think about this. Better realization, better understanding, better manifestation, and it shows itself in how you act, what you do. How comfortable are you with you? That's what loving yourself is, being comfortable with who you are. In the past, now, and in the future. I want you to pay attention. This is for you. That's why you're here. In this, a place that is very, very real. Stay for a while and think about these things. Stay for a while. It's in the field. It's for you. I'm crying in love with humanity. And so it is.
Responding in a way that goes against you being able to attract that very thing into your life. And so then the masters, teachers, and loved ones can support you in overcoming that hurdle or overcoming that fear so that you can create the reality that you truly want. The cool thing about the records is it's not just necessarily like a manifest, like what kind of gifts I have or what intuition, how can I tap into my intuition? They do all that, but they also support you in all areas of your life, from relationships to romance to money to business to career to spirituality to fun and leisure to even cooking. Like if you don't know what you want to make for dinner, they're going to assist you with what's going to be awesome for you to make for dinner tonight and how it's going to support your body as well.
I have a question. There'll be some listening right now, because this is your specialty. This is what you do. And some are going to be listening and going, guardians? What guardians? I don't have anybody talking to me. What is this? You say they'll talk to me, they'll tell me this. If you will walk through, somebody comes to you, there's an issue or problem, how do you then get them to that place where they can understand it more, maybe relate to it, listen, and change?
Yeah. So the guardians, I also refer to them as the masters, teachers, and loved ones, are the ones that are speaking to us or connecting with us through our clairs. And that is how we interpret spiritual information. So they might be speaking where you hear them. You might just know the information that's coming through. You might sense their presence and they're communicating through your clairsentient, or you might see a visual, or you might taste something or smell something, but they're going to communicate through the clairs. And I have a specific, very easy process for someone to open up their Akashic Records that I teach inside of my Akashic Record program called Sacred Awakening. And we get very, very connected with the guardians of their records. And the guardians are always going to show up like an amazing family member, friend, that just absolutely loves you, and they're going to be your biggest cheerleaders because they come in, and who's going to serve you that serves the highest good in that particular moment based on the question that you have is going to come through, and they'll come through as a collective as well. And that might be Jesus or Mother Mary or Buddha or Kuan Yin or any other galactic light being that wants to come through. And then they'll speak to you based on their expertise. And that also includes creation, God, universe, whatever sacred title you give that being will speak through the records as well, which is because we're all a part of creation. So that's included in the guardians as well.
Given that you've had lots of students now learn this for themselves, I'd love to hear about some of the transformations that you have had the privilege to witness.
There's some great cases, the things that
have. So one of the things that I absolutely love, which I'm sure Leah and Monica, you can relate to, is just seeing how quickly someone can transform their life when they're starting to do this type of spiritual work. And in Sacred Awakening, it's a 4-month-long program, and the transformations that people make in just 4 months is night and day different. I've had students that have left their job, started business, replaced all their income. I've had people that have been able to have the courage to leave something that they've been wanting to leave behind forever and ever. And they take the leap of faith and completely change their entire world, entire reality based on just making that one decision. I've seen people that have healed trauma, childhood trauma that has been holding them back or giving them nightmares or giving them fears. I've had other students that just someone recently told me that they were able to get a job offer just by doing some of the work that they've been doing in the records because they opened themselves up to a new level of worthiness. So it's really fun to see what happens because it's not just material things that can manifest. It's also the emotional, spiritual, and physical ways that people can also heal themselves in the records too, is what I really love seeing as well.
Walk us through this. Is people would ask who haven't heard this before, how possibly could something that happened in a past life, way before I got here, impact me today?
Oh gosh, it's fascinating how it can be impacting someone. So let's say in a previous life, you had a traumatic experience where you were abandoned. Like, let's say you had a mom and dad and the village got pillaged and you were abandoned. Well, that abandonment could be playing into your current relationships where you have this fear of abandonment, but nothing has ever happened in this lifetime that warrants that fear. You weren't abandoned as a child. Your parents were loving and caring. You didn't have a romantic partner that abandoned you, but there's this fear of abandonment. And this could be a way that presents itself in different relationships. And so what we can do is we can use the records to go into the past to see where the soul has fragmented and where it is frozen in time, because time, it, like, as humans, it's linear and everything is happening on a timeline, where we're multidimensional beings and we can be experiencing something from the past because our soul has fragmented and that still believes that it was abandoned or it's not worthy or whatever it is that happened in that particular lifetime. And we can go reclaim that fragment of the soul and mend the heart so that the soul feels whole again and recognizes its wholeness. And so that changes the behavior on this current timeline that shifts relationships with self, creation, and others as well, which is really fascinating to see.
It really is. Thank you for that. And I know this is like 101. But a lot of people are just starting to realize what this is all about. And you're a specialist in it. I just want to rewind a little bit to your life. How did you actually discover this?
Oh gosh. So for me, I just was following the energy as it presented itself to me. I was in a really dark place. I didn't want to be in my human body anymore. And I kept hearing to go to yoga, in a brand new hot yoga studio just opened up, and I started there. And then I got guided to start meditating. And then my very first teacher that I found, I wanted to learn how to do dream interpretations because I was having very, very bad nightmares where people were killing me and I was having all these really bad dreams, and I wanted to learn how to meditate. And I found this beautiful teacher that taught me how to not only meditate, but to interpret my dreams. And then I ended up taking her teacher meditation course, which sounds so simple, but it wasn't. I ended up learning how to access my records in this course, and she didn't even teach me how to open the records. I just started accessing them. And then I learned how to do like hands-on healing and exorcisms and dream interpretations, teaching people how to meditate. Like, you name it, it was in this course, and it was much more than just learning how to meditate. And so when in this course, I started accessing the records. And then as I was in this journey, I just kept following the energy of like, oh, I'm interested in this spiritual tool. I'm interested in this spiritual tool. And what ended up happening is I would just follow what was presenting itself to me. And if it felt like a full body yes, I was doing it, because that's always my answer. Like, if it's a full body yes, do it, jump in. Don't worry about how it's going to happen, because it's a yes for a reason. And so the records kept showing up. And so I just started diving really, really deep into them. And they opened my eyes up to so many different things, and how my life has changed from them is night and day different. The way that I used to talk to myself, the way that I used to think about how or perceive how I was is completely different. And I would make a dumb blonde joke really quick to beat someone to the punch, and just, it's cringeworthy to think about. That's the way that I would think back then. But the records have definitely helped me transform my inner dialogue. So I love myself on a completely different level. And just because I love myself on a completely different level, I've been able to attract so many amazing experiences that confirms that belief. And it's just beautiful to see when this happens for everybody else that's in the records as well.
What a lovely testimony of how when you do the change inside, everything outside matches that transformation and change. I love that you've talked about dream work. That is something that many of us are fascinated by, and dream interpretation. So is there a way that you use the Akashic Records to help interpret dreams?
Oh yeah. So the beautiful thing is you don't even have to know how to interpret dreams if you have access to the records. Because what you can do is you can write down your dream first thing when you wake up in the morning, and then you can go in the records and ask them, hey, tell me about my dream. What is the bigger meaning of this dream? Oh, I saw this little trinket in my dream. Tell me a little bit more about that. How does it relate back to the bigger meaning of the dream? And so you get to unpack the dream by just asking questions, and you don't even need to know how to interpret the dream, because the guardians will interpret it for you as well, which makes it so much easier too, which is kind of neat.
Absolutely, because there's so many different things about dreams and what they mean. But again, the dreams, it's personal to you, and everything I think is a metaphor sometimes. And how do you interpret metaphors?
So for me, my husband makes fun of me because he'll be like, Amy, I had this dream. I'm like, oh, let me break it down for you. He's like,
we do the same thing, Amy. Yeah.
So he's like, everything doesn't have to have a meaning. I'm like, everything has a meaning. I promise you.
Right.
So for me, for metaphors dreams are the biggest metaphor, because our subconscious mind is working through the day, or working through problems, or working through whatever it is that you're going through in that particular time, or it's working through stuff from the past as well and bringing it forward for you to look at. And so this is the one thing that I love to tell people, because I think so oftentimes people get very nervous whenever they have a nightmare or have a really bad dream. They have to stop and take a step back and remind themselves they're safe, because the dream is just a way that your subconscious is speaking to you, and it can speak to you in codes and symbols and metaphors. And so how to interpret the metaphor could be to meditate on it, to ask more questions in the records, or to just simply sleep on it. And one of my favorite things to do before I go to bed is to give my subconscious a job. And I will say, subconscious, please help me understand XYZ. And so if there's something that I'm trying to understand, or if there's a pattern that I'm noticing, or I'll just give it a generic job too, just to see what wants to come forward. Do I do this every night? Absolutely not, because sometimes you need a rest. And so if you are a person that dreams a lot, like it could be a little too much sometimes. So in terms of like metaphors, don't ever take the symbol at face value. And the guardians also say that never take our answer at face value either. Mm-hmm. It's always important to ask more questions and to get curious about what the true meaning is.
This week, we often have themed weeks in the channels. And this week, Kryon is talking about unraveling unworthiness. In other words, peeling the onion of unworthiness. Now, I bet that's a big one, because so many of us don't have that. We don't feel worthy, and there's so many reasons. I bet you face that a lot, and I bet it's all over the Akashic record in so many of us.
It really is.
Yeah.
And there's different levels of worthiness. I think that as we navigate throughout our human experience, we get initiated into the next level of worthiness if we're willing to go there. But we have to be willing to look under the rug, look within inside us of things that we've pushed down and didn't want to face at that particular moment in time. Also have to be really conscious and curious about our thoughts, because those thoughts are what's breathing life into the unworthiness as well. And Lee, I love that this is your theme, because this is literally what I just recorded my podcast about just hours before this.
So I want to remind people that if they want to get in touch with Amy and take a look at some of the work she's doing, her website is theamyroberson.com. You can see that link in the chat, but also if you scroll down below the replay video, you'll see that there as well. So
I can have one more?
Yeah.
Okay, it goes like this. Almost everybody who thinks about an Akashic record worker thinks that you're going to help them drop bad stuff that's happened in the past and move on with their life. But I think it's more than that. I think you can then shape your life into your future using what has happened in the Akashic records as well.
Absolutely. And so I think sometimes people have this misinterpretation of what a session can be like. For the way that I teach the Akashic Records and the way that I teach my students as Akashic Record practitioners, we aren't just channeling a bunch of information. The client doesn't get to ask questions. What we're doing is we're actually making the session very, 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 very interactive, because we want the client to be able to get answers and to also have breakthroughs in the session. And what I mean by that is sometimes the guardians are going to ask the client a question, the student a question, because asking a question can create a breakthrough. It can make them stop and pause and think about what it is. Often they'll also share information they've already heard, but it's confirmation that that's truly what it is that they're meant to be doing at that particular time. Also, they're going to bring forward what's going to serve the highest good in that particular moment. And so if it is an uncomfortable conversation, it serves the highest good. They're never going to share something that doesn't serve the highest good in that particular moment because the person's not ready to receive it. And so the guardians want to support us in living our best life, expanding our energy, getting into alignment with what is truly meant to be, so that we can also be change makers in other people's lives as well. So we can be of service, because it's all reciprocal and all plays into one another as we connect and work together as well. And so I love that you asked this question, Lee, because they're going to not only support and healing, but they also bring forward some really fun things as well. So it's a balance of what they share with us too.
I love that. So we're almost at the end of our conversation that we are absolutely loving and enjoying. But Amy, is there any kind of final words that you want to share with us?
Yeah. So if you are getting super curious about the records, I'm going to just share that you are not watching this by mistake. The records start speaking to people when they're ready to start accessing them. And so if you're like, oh my God, this sounds really amazing, I want to encourage you to discover your Akashic Records. And I teach a free masterclass that we're going to be doing in August. And so if you're wanting to join us for a free masterclass series to learn more about the Akashic Records, I invite you to do that. Definitely dive deeper into it, because the records really start speaking to people when they're ready to access them. And you don't have to be psychic or gifted or feel like you're intuitive, because they will meet you where you're at, and they're here to assist you in true transformation, which is really beautiful to witness and see and to experience as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Amy. It's been an absolute delight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so wonderful. It's so nice to meet you both and chat with you.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I love that Amy said have the curiosity to explore what is in your Akash. And we are now going to take a 10-minute break, and then we'll see you back here for the Circle of 12.